Bonjour à tous. Nous venons du Conseil de sécurité, nous venons de terminer la réunion publique du Conseil de sécurité. Et pour le moment, Son Excellence Madame Thérèse Kayikwamba Wagner, ministre d'État, ministre des Affaires étrangères, coopération internationale et francophonie de la République démocratique du Congo, est prête à faire une présentation à la presse, à l'issue de laquelle nous allons ouvrir la parole pour ceux qui désireraient prendre la parole pour poser des questions. Alors, je vais inviter Madame la Ministre. Excellence.
Merci, ambassadeur. Je peux ? Mesdames et messieurs de la presse, la République démocratique du Congo traverse l'une des périodes les plus sombres de son histoire récente, marquée par une crise sécuritaire d'une gravité alarmante à l'est de notre pays. Depuis des années, les populations congolaises subissent les effets dévastateurs d'une agression planifiée et systématique menée par les forces de défense du Rwanda, RDF, et leur supplétif M23. En violation flagrante des principes du droit international et des engagements pris dans le cadre du processus de paix. Depuis le 6 janvier 2025, ces forces illégales ont intensifié leurs attaques, s'emparant de localités stratégiques telles que Katale, Louchébéré, Masisi Centre, provoquant le déplacement de millions de civils, détruisant des infrastructures vitales et commettant des violations massives de droits de l'homme. Ces actes ne sont pas seulement des attaques contre le peuple congolais, mais aussi contre les principes fondamentaux qui régissent la coexistence pacifique entre les nations. Face à cette situation tragique, la République démocratique du Congo rappelle la responsabilité historique du Conseil de sécurité des Nations unies, garant de la paix et de la sécurité internationale. Il ne s'agit pas seulement de rester saisi de la question, mais d'agir avec fermeté et diligence pour répondre aux aspirations légitimes de notre peuple à la paix et à la justice. Nous demandons à ce Conseil de prendre des mesures concrètes et immédiates, à savoir la cessation immédiate des hostilités et le retrait total et inconditionnel des troupes rwandaises du territoire congolais pour établir la souveraineté de la République démocratique du Congo sur ces terres. L'imposition de sanctions ciblées contre les responsables militaires et politiques rwandais, identifiés comme les instigateurs de cette agression. Un embargo strict sur les exportations de ressources naturelles en provenance du Rwanda afin de couper les financements illicites des groupes armés. Et la révocation du Rwanda comme pays contributeur de troupes aux missions de paix des Nations Unies en raison de ses violations flagrantes du droit international humanitaire et de ses attaques systématiques et ciblées contre les soldats de la paix des Nations Unies et de la SADC. La RDC reste fermement engagée dans les processus de paix, notamment ceux de Luanda et de Nairobi, sous les auspices des facilitateurs africains. Cependant, nous rejetons toute tentative de légitimer des acteurs non étatiques comme le M23 à travers les négociations interétatiques du processus de Luanda. Aujourd'hui, la communauté internationale a une occasion et une responsabilité unique de prouver son engagement en faveur de la justice et de la paix. Chaque jour d'inaction renforce les agresseurs rwandais et perpétue les souffrances de millions d'innocents de Congolais. Le peuple congolais ne cédera ni à la résignation ni à l'injustice. Nous continuerons à défendre nos droits, protéger notre territoire et exiger le respect de notre souveraineté. L'histoire jugera de la réponse que le monde aura donnée à cet appel. Nous réitérons notre confiance en la capacité du Conseil de sécurité et des partenaires internationaux à agir avec courage et détermination pour mettre fin à cette tragédie humaine et rétablir la paix dans notre pays et dans les régions des Grands Lacs. Je vous remercie.
Madam Foreign Minister Sherman Rice, South African Broadcasting. President Felix Tshisekedi in the General Assembly in September 2023 called on MONUSCO to start a phased withdrawal from the DRC. Was that call a mistake given the escalation we are seeing now? And what is your message to the troop contributing countries, South Africa, Malawi, Uruguay, that have lost troops in this fight, given the escalation we're seeing?
The withdrawal of MONUSCO was sequential, and it was not a mistake, because in the areas where MONUSCO withdrew, we have seen sustained peace, we have seen progress, and we have seen stability. The challenge that we find ourselves in right now is in areas where MONUSCO is still present. So this has nothing to do with MONUSCO's presence. This has something to do with the fact that a neighboring country, Rwanda, has been permitted by the international community, by its donors, by its partners, to wreak havoc in the DRC, in particular in North Kivu, even in the presence of United Nations peacekeeping troops, with one of the most robust mandates of the United Nations. What I say to troop contributing countries, and this is very important because Rwanda itself is one of the UN's largest troop contributing countries, is that this crisis is not a DRC specific crisis. This should compel all troop contributing countries to engage in a robust conversations with the United Nations, with DPKO, on what it means to be a troop contributing countries. How is it permissible that a country, one of the largest troop contributing countries, gets away with killing peacekeepers, as peacekeepers from South Africa, Malawi, Uruguay were killed in less than 24 hours. This is unacceptable. It is a violation of all the principles of the United Nations. And I think that every self-respecting truth-contributing country, such as South Africa, has also a responsibility, but also a right to have an answer from the UN as to what standards it applies when it engages in partnerships and how it holds partners accountable to respect international law. Thank you.
Madam Foreign Minister, my name is Gabriel Elizondo from Al Jazeera English News Channel. Two questions. One is, how confident are you that your forces can hold off the M23 and Rwandan forces that are now less than 10 kilometers outside of Goma? How confident are you that that you can hold Goma, number one? And number two is, you called for targeted sanctions against Rwandan officials. Are you disappointed that that has not happened up until now, and that here we are at this stage still calling for that?
To answer first the question of our assessment of the security situation, it is a tense situation. We are following and monitoring it closely. We are grateful for the support and the resilience of our own armed forces, but also the presence and the support of MONUSCO troops as well as SADC troops. I will not delve into speculations. I am confident in the resolve of all involved forces to uphold the territorial integrity of the DRC, and most importantly, to protect the civilian lives which are at stake right now. Now, when it comes to sanctions and to the absence thereof, more importantly, of course we're disappointed. Of course we are disappointed because as an African country, how often is it that we have to listen to the lessons, that we have to listen to what we ought to be doing, the rules we are to be following, and at the same time find ourselves in this edifice and see that the rules that we all consider to be holy, to be precious, are being violated with such impunity. So there is, of course, a level of frustration, but frustration does not mean resignation. And we will always remind the international community of its responsibility, in particular, the United Nations Security Council. We will never, ever tire of reminding it of that, reminding it of its responsibility, but also its failure to act when it is the case. And for the past 3 years, the Security Council has failed the Congolese people. It has not acted, it has not held the people accountable who are directly linked to the chain of commands linking the RDF and the M23. Chain of commands that lead all the way back to Kigali.
One quick follow-up, if you may, Madam Foreign Minister. Are you also disappointed in the Secretary General that he has not been more forceful in calling out Rwanda specifically?
There have been in the past, I want to say 72 hours, 2 statements from the Secretary General. We welcome these statements. They were clear, they were robust, and they reflected also the urgency of the situation. However, we are also cognizant that since the renewed insurgency of the M23 started in 2022, the DRC raised the alarm. For the past 3 years, we have been raising the alarm. And yes, we have taken note of how long it took. The different partners that we are working with, the different partners that we believe share our ideals, we are cognizant of the fact that it took them a very long time. It's not just an issue of the Secretary General. When you look at the Security Council, we still have permanent members that have yet to utter the word Rwanda. And we have some that have done so for the first time a month ago. This is work in progress. And as I said before, we will not tire of defending our values, our people, but also of holding everyone accountable towards the responsibility that they have as member states of the United Nations or as public servants of the United Nations. Thank you.
Minister Wagner, if I may as well, the Rwandan ambassador has said that the alliance that the FARDC has with SAMI DRC, Burundian groups and others, including the FDLR that it recognizes as a genocidal force, constitutes a major security threat to Rwanda. How do you
Wapi?
respond to
Kangambanga na wapi?
that?
FDLR saka insecurity na Rwanda wapi?
FARDC is working with the
Ilobela.
FDLR.
Well, I think we ought to be looking at the situation on the ground right now. The situation on the ground right now is that a city such as large as Goma, with millions of civilians, is being taken in an onslaught by the Rwandan Defense Forces and the M23. Granted, every country is allowed to feel preoccupied by its safety. This is a legitimate concern, and I am not questioning it, but we have to have a clear distinction between the concern and the reality. And the reality right now is, yes, maybe Rwanda is concerned with its territorial integrity, but the DRC is the country whose territorial integrity is being violated by Rwanda. It is the DRC and the Congolese people who are being killed right now. So yes, their fears are legitimate, but they are not real. They have not materialized. We are the ones being killed. We are the ones being violated, and Rwanda is responsible for that.
Yeah,
And
merci,
this is just
Mama.
a very shameful way to respond or to shy away from responding to such a responsibility that Rwanda bears. But we take note of that, and again, history will never forget and probably not forgive. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mtu akanda akei. Bandeko, bye bye, tokutani dans un instant pour un point sur la situation à Goma.